As Donald Trump's efforts to stage a coup seem to become more and more serious each day, a few of the feckless Republican lawmakers who had remained silent have finally decided to say a word or two. Now, I want to be clear that some of these statements are certainly stronger than others. Mitt Romney, for instance, who we'll begin with, is someone who's known to poke at or critique Trump here and there. But this is one of the stronger statements that he released, and he did so on Twitter. So let me read it to you. He writes, having failed to make even a plausible case of widespread fraud or conspiracy before any court of law, the president has now resorted to overt pressure on state and local officials to subvert the will of the people and overturn the election. It is difficult to imagine a worse, more undemocratic action by a sitting American president. And to be honest with you, this is important. And the reason why I say Mitt Romney's statement is important is because there is a possibility that if state lawmakers play ball with Trump, which seems unlikely at the moment, but if they do, and eventually this election really becomes contested and the Senate needs to vote. Obviously, with Republicans taking control of the Senate as of now, we would need Republican senators to do the right thing. And that is a terrifying thing to leave to chance, to be honest with you. But Mitt Romney is making clear here that he absolutely unequivocally disagrees with what Donald Trump is doing. He calls it undemocratic, and I'm glad that he has this take. There are others, but Ida, I wanted to get your thoughts.
I remember when I was in school and I would get A's, and my dad would say to me, cool, you're supposed to get A's, right? So Republicans and Democrats alike are supposed to uphold.
No, I love that. That's such a classic like immigrant parent response. Like that was like, my parents must have told me that a million times when I was a kid. I totally know what that's like. Anyway, keep going.
You don't get props for doing what you're supposed to be doing. You don't get props for being a good citizen, and you shouldn't get props for being a good senator, because you are a senator to all of the people of your state, not just the ones who are part of your political party. And so when I sit here and I listen to these people are like, oh wow, did you see who spoke up? You should speak up. Our democracy is being attacked by a megalomaniac psychopath. How many words can we use to describe the man made up of mashed potatoes? How many more? Like, I'm just sitting here like, okay, so what, you want a cookie now? One day you hate Donald Trump, then you go to dinner with him. Now you want to speak up on behalf of the people. Yo, this is just a complete clown show. It is a dog and pony show. And so when I'm just like, I think that they're so hungry for power that they're willing to toe the line. And then when they realize how toxic Donald Trump is and unreliable and untrustworthy, they're like, oh no, we gotta stop him. He's not gonna give me what he promised me. I won't be part of the power structure. And that's what it feels like to me. It's like, look at Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is like
pathetic.
How low can you go? Like he's dropping it. He is dropping it like it's hot, like a stripper in Atlanta. I just.
Oh my God.
Get it together.
No. I mean, he's definitely lusty for power and relevance. And so Lindsey Graham, he's a shapeshifter. He'll do whatever is necessary. He will disregard any and all values and principles in order to suck up to anyone in a position of power if he thinks it's beneficial for his own political career. There's no question. And because of politicians like Lindsey Graham, the bar has been set so low for Republican lawmakers that if Susan Collins wags her finger for a second, the media is like, oh, whoa. Like they get so excited, and it's like she hasn't done anything. She goes along with many of the proposals and the actions that the Trump administration wants to take. And so keep in mind, Romney's statement was one of the strongest, okay? We still have gotten complete silence from other Republican senators, other Republican lawmakers. It's either silence or they're just flat out enabling Donald Trump like Lindsey Graham is. Ben Sasse also released a statement, which is a little lengthier, but I wanna read you the entirety of it. He says, here's what I'm telling Nebraskans who ask me how to make sense of the different election fraud claims. What matters most at this stage is not the latest press conference or tweet, but what the president's lawyers are actually saying in court. And based on what I've read in their filings, When Trump campaign lawyers have stood before courts under oath, they have repeatedly refused to actually allege grand fraud because there are legal consequences for lying to judges. President Trump lost in Michigan by more than 100,000 votes, and the campaign and its allies have lost in or withdrawn from all 5 lawsuits in Michigan for being unable to produce any evidence. Wild press conferences erode public trust. So no, obviously Rudy and his buddies should not pressure electors to ignore the certification obligations under the statute. We are a nation of laws, not tweets. US Senator Ben Sasse. Actually, you know what? That was probably a stronger statement. I don't know why I didn't want to give him credit for it, but no, that was a strong statement, and I like the dig at Rudy Giuliani. But again, you don't get brownie points for doing your job. You just don't.
Yeah, I mean, so Donald Trump has only been the president of the Republicans who follow him for the last 4 years. He hasn't been the president of the entire country. That's just our reality. It's been unfortunate. Barack Obama had to be the president of everyone because Barack Obama was beholden to this higher moral standard because he's a black man. But the truth is that Donald Trump has only served his base. And that's all he's been talking about. And that's also just through rhetoric because who he's been serving is the elite and his fellow criminals. But when Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, well, I wanted to ask you a question about what you just said because you're right in that Obama really went out of his way to pursue governing in a bipartisan way, and I wish he hadn't done that. Right. But I get what you're saying about the double standard because of the fact that he was biracial. But now we have Joe Biden, who's constantly talking about we need decency, we need unity, we need to unify with these people. How do you unify with people who literally want to steal the election, who want to dismantle our democratic process? I just don't get it.
No, I think that, the reality of it is that being the president of the United States is working in the best interest of the population, right? Of everyone. And even if that means pushing back against corrupt politicians who are trying to not just destroy our democracy, but also service only the corporations and the elite people who are making so much profit off of our demise. So no, I don't need, look, when he said he probably wouldn't pursue criminal charges against Trump, and those are the things that will make sure he doesn't come back for re-election, and those are the things that continue to embolden and strengthen the Progressive Party because it's that type of weakness that has always been the driver of the Democratic Party. While they promise marginalized people, Black people, Latinos, all the stuff that they promise, all of the struggling people in this country and never deliver because they don't have backbone, or they are also negotiable and getting paychecks, right? Because that's the truth, because that corruption is across the board. So no, I don't admire that. But what I'm saying more is not about the political parties because it's become so much like we work for them. It's the people that I'm talking about, not the Democrats and the Republicans. I'm talking about the American people. Even if they don't like you, you still work in their best interest. You still work in the best interest of the poor white people who are gonna die of COVID because they're following Donald Trump. Like they're still the American people. That's what you get paid. And so what I'm saying is it's not about, you push back against the Republican Party and you fight for the people. But what I'm saying is Donald Trump was not the president of all Americans.
Yeah.
He only rose with people who lick his boots.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. He would retaliate against states that he felt were unfriendly to him. I mean, he did that in the way he crafted his 2017 tax plan and a number of other things. I mean, threatening to cut FEMA funding to various blue states. I mean, he did that throughout his term. There's no question. And I agree with you. I mean, I don't want Joe Biden to govern in that way. I don't want him to treat one American different from the other, even if I disagree with the other, politically speaking. But I want to see some strength and I want to see more of a fight on behalf of Democrats, right? Like I want to see them actually hold Republican lawmakers accountable when they do break the law. When Senator Lindsey Graham tries to encourage the Secretary of State from Georgia to throw away perfectly legal ballots, that is a crime, and he should be investigated for that. Period. But
no, he should be prosecuted. He should go, if there's evidence of it, he shouldn't just be investigated. There need to be, we gotta start having consequences for bad behaviors. And that this is what we're teaching people in this country. And that is what enables a Kyle Rittenhouse, is when you see the people that you follow, and that's why they follow them blindly, and it's become a cult, because they're watching these people behave unapologetically, doing things that are egregious and not having any consequences. And that's why they idolize these people.
And one final mention, and I think this was the weakest and most pathetic response. Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander, another Republican, essentially says, Trump has the right to want recounts and investigations into potential voter fraud. But in the meantime, he should allow Joe Biden to begin the transition process. Let me give you one of his statements. He says, it looks like Biden has a very good chance to be president-elect. And if there's any chance that he will be, and it looks like there is a very good chance, I believe the Trump administration ought to provide the Biden administration with all the transition materials and sources and meetings necessary so we have a smooth transition on both sides. So both sides are ready on day one. And then, he continues on to say, what I would hope is that the loser of this election would follow Al Gore's example and put the country first, congratulate the winner, help him off to a good beginning to a new term, whether it's Trump or Biden, but it's Biden, it's Biden. Don't even leave it up to fate, right? What the truth is. So he's trying to straddle both sides. And I think it's amazing how that's actually a more courageous response than the majority of Republican senators who have either remained silent or have completely enabled Donald Trump. But even so, that response is pathetic because he knows what the truth is. And he's trying to put out this message in a way where all of these Trump cronies won't come after him aggressively. They're so afraid, and it's unbelievable.
I think to myself oftentimes, Donald Trump must have one hell of a vault. He has to have the dirtiest PI people working on these politicians where he has them all in the jar, because it is unbelievable to see. And listen, I'm just speculating here, but it is not beyond Donald Trump to bring dirty business into the White House. It's been there since he got there, right? There's been dirty business in the White House since the White House started, but he brought a different type element of dirty business into the White House, because these people not only, it's not just that they agree with him, they seem like they're afraid of him. He is the big bully, you know what I mean? And it just seems so weird to see the way, and my only wish is that the American people pay attention to these elected officials when they have to go back and vote in 2 years, in 4 years, and pay attention to who stood up for you, whether they're Republican or Democrat, and get them out of there. Because these are the people making decisions about your where you live and your immediate life. And I just don't understand. I don't understand why some of these people got reelected.
Well, we're definitely keeping track of these Republican senators. So let's take a quick look at the emoji graphic that our graphics team put together. Shows you the number of GOP senators who still deny reality related to the general election. And as you can see, only 5 of them acknowledge what the reality is, that Joe Biden is the president-elect and that Donald Trump should allow the transition process to begin. That is such a depressing and amusing graphic, to say the least. But we'll keep you guys updated as we learn more.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.